1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Royal Blue Podcast Soundcheck. Wednesday show live. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Royal Blue Podcast Soundcheck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hello and welcome to the Royal Blue Podcast. It is the Wednesday show. We are live on the Royal Blue YouTube channel. I am your host, Ian Croll. And joining me in the Royal Blue studio today to talk all things Everton, we have Tony Scott. Tony, how are things? All good?
Yeah, all good. Personally and on the Everton front as well. You're a bit of a jinx, aren't you, Ian?
Well, a lot of people have been telling me that, to be honest. I mean, to be honest, the last time you were on the show was the post-match Roma game that we did.
Yeah.
If I remember. I think that was it. And a lot has changed since then.
The team's changed completely. Results have changed.
Yeah, mad, isn't it?
Yeah. But you know what? It's nice, isn't it? You've got a feeling of pride walking around the city. Even at the moment, you wouldn't think that we share a city with a team that have just spent £500 million, bought all the best players in the world at the top of the league. But like there we are, we share a city with them, and we're walking around with our heads in the air. How proud we are of our football club at the moment.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, we'll come into it obviously, but massive turnaround since the Leeds game. I think there was a bit of fear, trepidation of what was to come for the season. We know results. I am the jinx. I'm happy to be the jinx. I'm happy to not go if it means Everton win. But just to warn everyone that I am going the Villa game.
There you go. There you have it. Look forward to the post match already.
So if we get beat, then it is obviously just completely down to me.
Send you back on the next plane.
If you can fund it, I'll do it. Today's agenda, obviously no game this weekend. It is the international break. The fallout does continue on from obviously the close of the transfer window. We'll get Tony's thoughts on that. Conor O'Neill and I did record an in-depth show on Everton's transfer business over the summer. So if you want to go back and watch or listen to that from yesterday, you can do. But the main part of the show, we are just going to assess Everton's start of the season, albeit only 3 games in. I think it's been an interesting start with a defeat and then obviously 3 wins on the bounce, 1 including in the cup as well. So hopefully we'll get some positive thoughts from Tony for once.
Yeah, for once.
You know what has been positive so far this season?
Yeah.
The Royal Blue Podcast official sponsor, NordVPN.
Go for it.
To get the best discount off your NordVPN plan, go to nordvpn.com/EFC. Our link will give you 4 extra months on a 2-year plan. There's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. The link is in the podcast episode description. As always, give us a thumbs up, drop us a like and subscribe to the channel. And we are live, so get your comments in, get your questions in, and we'll try and read out as many as possible. We'll get straight into it, Tony, but transfer window reaction. To be honest, you can't deny, a couple of weeks ago, you were a little bit sceptical of how things were going. I think you used the words or the phrases, you didn't know what the plan was.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, you know, maybe we're in an agreement with you that things didn't look like they were progressing as what they should have done. How pleased or how not pleased are you, following the close of the transfer window?
We've had a good window. Wouldn't say great window. I think we've had a good window. The reason why I'm not saying great is that I think we've left ourselves short from a striker's point of view. I think we've left ourselves a little bit short from a full-back perspective. And I look at the players that we have signed this summer, I think there's not many, and I don't want this coming across as negative, far from it. I'm pleased with the window, but I think there's a lot of players that we've signed for the future that are basically being bought for resale value. And I get it, that's probably the market that we're in at the moment, considering what's happened.
Are you putting into that category then?
Well, as many as you want. There's only Jack Grealish and Kieran Dewsbury being bought for here and now.
Okay.
We've signed 9 players. So the likes of Thierry Barry, Adam Asnu, obviously Merlin Roll, these players, they're all for future seasons and sell-on value. And I get it. We've seen what's happened to Everton in the past. We've let 5, 6, 7 players go in the summer, all left the contracts, and we were left with bringing no transfer fee in. So I can see where there's been problems. We probably know that more than anyone in terms of we probably made. I think I've seen a stat that Everton have made during the Farhad Mashiri era that we've made 15, 20 million pound signings. And they've all left the football club. We've had no sell-on value with them whatsoever. So they've all seen the wages out. Big 5-year contracts. The likes of your Cenk Tosun's of the world, your Theo Walcott's, your Yerry Mina's. The list is endless in terms of these players that have seen the contracts out, have had no sell-on value. So I get why this recruitment team and Everton's hierarchy go, right, we need some young up-and-coming players who've got the sell-on value. So if it does go belly up, that at least we can sell them for some kinds of substance. So I get the reasons why, but I look at what David Moyes needs right now, and there's only 2 players that theoretically Everton have signed this summer that are here for here and now: Kieran Dewsbury and Jack Grealish. They're the only ones that are kind of Premier League proven, and the only ones with probably the age bracket that you're looking for in terms of they're fitting the mould right now. The other players are just for future reference. So I was hoping to see a little bit more from an attacking point of view, from a striker, full back, and obviously a little bit more players that are ready to hit the ground running straight away.
In terms of the quality, though, that we've brought in, obviously a lot was made up of, well, so many players have left this summer, the squad depth, which, yeah, it is an issue, probably still is going to be an issue moving forward. We know we've got the African Cup of Nations. We know injuries will play the part. But it seems to me that the plan has been quality over quantity. And to be fair, Moyes wanted 10. He got 9. Everton have never usually had a big squad anyway. And you can have one good window, but it probably takes, 2, 3, 4 windows to actually build a squad. Some of those players that we brought in this window might not be here in like 2, 3 years' time. It's obviously maintaining that, make sure you building the quality, bringing in the quality on a regular basis. I agree with you to an extent that there's players limited players that we brought in terms of Grealish and Dewsbury Hall who have probably they can hit the ground running and the rest are selling value. But I think in the past we both agreed that the way Everton need to go, because we can't just go and spend multiple millions of pounds, it probably is that Brighton model. Yeah,
and I get it. Listen, I totally understand that. But the question I'm asking myself at the back of my mind is that out of them 9 players that we signed, 2 reserve goalkeepers, Adam Asnou's not going to probably play many 13 games this season. So out of them players that we've actually bought, how many would you think that them would be David Moyes' signings?
It's a tough one because I've said in the past I'm always a bit wary about a transfer committee, if that's what you want to label it or call it. I think we've obviously had the director of football model numerous occasions, to an extent, ripped that up and then gone back to the director of football model. You can have your say on what Kevin Thelwell did under difficult circumstances. The model that we've got is now when it seems to be a transfer committee. I think a lot of people are going to have a say, influence. Does David Moyes have the final say? I'd like to think that he does.
So you'd hope.
I'd like to think that he does. Otherwise, what's the point? You don't want to bring a player in who Moyes doesn't fancy. You're just already starting off on the wrong foot with that player, really. And I know Moyes was frustrated with the lack of signings, say mid-transfer window. From the outside looking in, I don't necessarily think that was because we were, there was an argument or a debate of who we were bringing in. I think it was clear that we were trying to bring better quality players in, and we might not have been appealing to those type of players. Quite clearly, the quality of Fofana. Who else was? I can't even think who else we were linked with now. There was plenty of others. They were probably just saying no to Everton at this time because maybe they didn't believe in the project.
But you don't know if that was true.
No, that's what I'm saying from the outside looking in. That's what I don't think there's been an argument between the chief executive and Moyes or like a couple of other people on the transfer committee. I don't necessarily think that's the case. Moyes has been frustrated because maybe he thinks the Everton name should hold a bit more. Well, it should be able to bring players in better.
What you'd hope that would be happening with the recruitment team, as you've just said, stroke committee and David Moyes and the scouting network, is that Moyes will have probably met with them many times during the summer. I said, right, I need to write back. For example, here, I'm just shouting out loud. So then they've obviously tried to get signed Kenny Tete. That hasn't come about. So maybe then the committee or transfer recruitment team, whatever you want to call it, have said, right, David, there's that player there, there's that player there, there's that player there. You can have one of any of them three, or are you happy to go with Jake O'Brien and Patterson and Coleman? And to be honest, I personally think that James Garner will be the second choice right back, to be honest.
Okay.
That's just my personal opinion on it. So I think they probably said to him, we can get you them, but there's not going to be much sell-on value with them. There may be a free transfer somewhere else. Or are you happy to go with what we've got until January, and we can maybe push the budget out on a Jack Grealish or a Kieran Dewsbury? So I think that's where David Moyes has gone, right, okay, I've got Jake O'Brien there. He was very reliant in the right back.
We've got four players who can play right back.
We're not on our knees, and I'd rather have a Kieran Dewsbury or splash the budget on him. So I can get all these mitigating circumstances will unfold. I just think the biggest hole we've left ourselves in terms of the summer's business is up front.
I agree with
that's
that.
That's a big hole. Mainly because we want to become a top 10 team. We want to be in the mix for European football this season. That's what we want. That's what the expectation is this summer. And in order to do that, you need to go to big grounds, the Emirates, Anfield, Etihad, Old Trafford. It doesn't matter where they are in the Premier League, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and you need to go and get a result.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, you need a goal scorer in your team, or you definitely need someone to hold the ball up for you. And I don't think Everton have got that. So I look at Barry's still raw, still loads of potential. I like what I've seen about him so far, but I don't think he can lead the line for 30 games a season. But I don't think Beto can either. I think he is what he is at the moment. He'll score goals against the lesser sides, but when you're going against the big teams away from home, he can't hold the ball up. It's just coming back. So it's like we want to get in that top 10 bracket. So to get points against the big teams, I know we did last season. We went to Newcastle away last season. I played very well, but that can't continue over a 38 game when you've got Beto leading the line for 38 games a season. It's simply not going to be good enough. And again, you're looking at circumstances and I've seen lots of comparisons where, well, City have only got two centre forwards. Well, I'm not really interested. The way Everton play, you need the ball to be held up because you're going to have Grealish, you're going to have Dewsbury, you're going to have Ndiaye floating around the box. Now, it's all well and good when you're creating chances against Wolves, but they're not going to do that at Anfield. They're not going to do that at Tottenham. They're going to do all these big stadiums, and that's where you need to get them critical points to go from 13th to 6th or 7th. That's the barometer. You look at them teams that finished in European positions last season, I guarantee they've all have got big points at big stadiums last season, and that's what we need to do this season.
The lack of depth up front is definitely a concern. I think you're right in terms of looking at the two that we've got, because we've only got two now strikers with Schmidt going. You're looking at Barry and Beto probably playing 25, 30 plus games, whether that's one of them starting and coming on, making up appearances and stuff like that. Look, Beto's Beto, like you said, but he will score goals. I do believe that he will score goals. I think the jury's obviously still going to be out on Barry because we haven't seen enough of him yet. It's definitely been promising, without a doubt. What was the alternative then? Obviously, if there was no funds there for another striker, you just keep Schmidt for another season just to not do much. Beto seems quite durable, as I mentioned yesterday in the podcast. He hasn't picked up many or any injuries. Hopefully Barry is the same. They might be capable of playing those amounts of games and minutes this season.
But one of them strikers,
it's a risk. It's a risk
because he hasn't kicked the ball. He's kicked 60 minutes in the Premier League, Barry.
Well, I mean, Schmidt, so what would you have done? Kept Schmidt or what? He hasn't shown enough for me, Schmidt enough to be fair, to be kept on.
I agree. I don't think the kid's good enough. I said that at the time when I've been watching him, going, he just doesn't look ready for the Premier League. I'm not surprised that obviously Kevin Thelwell's took him to Rangers. Speaking to a Rangers fan, and they're going ballistic up there. Gone ballistic the way the club's being run, and the fact that they've spent the best part of £8 million on Chimiti, who were watched against Accrington in pre-season, was going, wow, nowhere near the levels. So that's where his level is at the moment. And I thought we could have been in the mix for an experienced striker, I don't know, on loan from somewhere, just someone to give us that little bit more up front. That may come in January. Maybe that striker may pop up on the market. We don't know. But it's a risk going from now till January in League Cup games as well that we've got coming up to go with two centre forwards. And mainly because I wouldn't be surprised now with what we'll see if one of them picks up an injury. It will happen. Beto and Barry, one of them will pick up an injury from now till January. That will happen. As watch Everton do then. So I'm sure that probably David Moyes has gone, maybe he would have liked one, maybe the committee have said, oh no, we'd rather keep our powder dry till January, see where we are. If we're in the top 10, then maybe go and get someone.
There's January, obviously.
Of course, the January window, maybe just to see where we are. Come then, I wouldn't be surprised if Everton go to the Etihad, Anfield, all these big stadiums, Emirates, with Iliman Ndiaye up front as a false nine. That wouldn't surprise me. Mainly because you're cramming your midfields and you're getting all your ball players in there. I get it. But the negative of that is the fact that Everton will lose the shape and the balance of the side. Because you want to, maybe Dibbling will come in for Ndiaye. Ndiaye will go into a false nine. You've still got Grealish, you've still got Grealish, and you've still got Dewsbury. So it is still like for like. But I still think you're missing Ndiaye as a craftsman outside the area. And maybe that might work. We don't know. If we go and pull up a brilliant result at Anfield in a couple of weeks' time, or at the City, at the Etihad, all of a sudden, it's a masterstroke. Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see him and Ndiaye as a false nine, and don't be surprised if you see the two centre forwards on the bench as well, if that's the case going into these big grounds.
It's an option, isn't it? And then obviously, if that is the case, Beto and Barry on the bench, options to bring on. Going back to the signers that we brought in, the frustration was there from a lot of fans, and a lot of fans were saying, you know, let's see what happens till the transfer window shuts. I don't know whether you agree, but the only one that seems to be turned into a transfer saga, was the Tyler Diblin one, wasn't it? At the end of the day, like every other one, I guess Kenny.
You've had a free hitter.
It was a free hit, and really Diblin was a free hit in a way as well.
Yeah,
it was only Southampton digging the heels in with the fee. We obviously got it over the line. Plenty to come from him, I'm sure. I know he had a couple of minutes in the League Cup game. Didn't play against Wolves, did he? So for me now, I mentioned it yesterday, there seems to be two players for every position. And even with, like, use McNeil as the example, a lot of people saying, well, he should have been sold, he should have been loaned out or whatever. This is what your squad is. This is what, like, McNeil will get time. McNeil and make an impact without a doubt. Especially if the likes of
Ndiaye. We've made, though, isn't it? If you think about it, McNeil was a certain starter for Everton last season. Now he's playing every game. Yeah. Now he's a squad player. Yeah. That's progression all day long, and you take that. The biggest, I think Everton have had I'd say if you're marking out of 10, an 8 out of 10 transfer window, to keep it just a guy, to keep Jared Brantwaite, and to make them additions, and fair play to Everton Football Club for paying the wages for Jack Grealish. I never thought, I don't think many Evertonians thought, by the way, we would have £100 million player playing for Everton, paying him the best part of 250, 300 grand a week. No one ever thought that. Yeah. And that the impact he's made straight away is just, it's there for all to see. The fact that we've only lost one game and he didn't start in it. We won the two others that he played in. Yeah. That says a lot. The lad's magic on the ball. He's one of them players that we're very lucky to witness in an Everton shirt from time to time. Yep. Your Rooney's of the world. And he's got that grace and elegance as a footballer that, right, wow, we're watching someone really, really good in an Everton shirt here. You used to watch that. I wouldn't go as far as like Arteta was one of them, but they're a freak. They're very few and far between when you see. I think James Rodriguez was probably one, but we obviously never had the opportunity to go and see him because of he played football for Everton in the COVID season. But the very few and far between these players that you sit back and go, wow, they're a very, very, very good footballer, and we're lucky to watch him in an Everton shirt.
I think as well, and there's like just a tweet that I seen, someone suggested that, okay, what you just said there, it was a huge amount of money that we paid for him, with it only being a 12-month deal. But people want to see Jack Grealish, which means we're going to be on TV a lot more. Yeah. So we're going to earn a lot more money. And I'm not saying we're on TV or that, but how many times we've been on TV, or we're going to be on TV over the next couple of weeks.
Wolves and Palace straight up in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, exactly.
They've already been televised. Wolves. It was a thought Everton versus Wolves in a League Cup game on a Tuesday night. League Cup. Exactly. All of a sudden, they're there.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, is that? Sorry, the new ones. Yeah.
And then we've got obviously Wolves in the Cup, and then we've got Crystal Palace. All of a sudden, that's a Sunday, 2 p.m. Live on Sky. So all these things now, Everton, and the stadium helps, of course. Yeah. I think the stadium is probably the most talked about stadium in Europe at the moment. without a doubt. Everyone's talking about it. And even speaking to neutral supporters, and you're seeing the Brighton fans' reaction from it. Speaking to a couple of commentators from who were commentating on the Everton Brighton game, and off the record, they were saying they could not believe the stadium. It was jaw-dropping too. It was like, wow, absolutely wow. They couldn't believe the stand. They said it's the best stadium in the Premier League. And I'm lucky enough to have been to a lot of stadiums, Tottenham Hotspur, Anfield, the Emirates, etc. By far, it's the best stadium. By far. And I'm not just saying that. I think Tottenham's could challenge you. But the reason why Tottenham's, for me, isn't the best because it's not purposely built for football. You can actually see that that's for concerts and NFL, etc. You could just see it's like a global arena. And that's Everton will probably go like that. And sorry, Il Dickinson will go to concerts and have other events, rugby, but it's being purposely built for football. And you can see that with the noise level straight away. It's a magnificent stadium, and that will help Everton in terms of market and etc. etc. And they'll be on the telly a lot more.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And there was I think I read an article that there was a potential of the opportunity of a basketball game being hosted there.
As in a football match?
Well, that's what I read. I don't, on the pitch. I don't know.
How
I'm sure I read that. I don't know.
I think you'll see lots of contests there next summer. Lots.
As long as season ticket holders get first dibs.
Depends who it is, who's on.
We'll see. Just back to Grealish. Is he kind of like the catalyst for the change from Leeds to Brighton, or has there been a number of things? Because when you think about it, we'll come on to like assessing the season now. Leeds was poor, we were poor, Leeds themselves were poor, but we still got beat. It was a bit of a mishmash of a team, but even then for Brighton, I was very critical of Moyes for picking James Garner as the left back against Leeds. He did it for Brighton, didn't he? But obviously Jack Grealish comes in. The team looked a little bit more balanced in terms of, I know Barry started.
That was a big help.
Obviously Kieran Dewsbury was in there, and was didn't I play on the right hand side? Yeah. So there was a little bit more of a balance to it, I thought, compared to the Leeds game. But has Jack Grealish been the overall catalyst for the change? You think?
On and off the pitch.
Yeah.
On and off the pitch. On the pitch, he just breeds confidence. He makes players better. You know yourself, and it doesn't matter what level of football you're playing at. You could be playing 5-a-sides with your mates in the pits or in the streets or whatever it may be, or you could be playing 11-a-sides amateur level. If you're playing alongside better players, you improve your game. All of a sudden, you're trying to be on his level. It's just a natural thing to do.
He's such a clever footballer.
Oh, he's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Right, left foot, drops the shoulder. He can do anything he wants. He's very, very good footballer. And when all of a sudden, we've never seen him in the eye in the form he's in at the moment. His level stepped up. Like you seen him last season, it was just all on him and nothing. And you could see him getting fed up at times and going, what do you want me to do here? I've got 3. Now all of a sudden, them 3 men that were marking Ilham and Diaye last season, they're marking Grealish. Yeah. So that's freeing up Ilham and Diaye. Look at the season he's having so far. It's been brilliant. Scoring goals, creating, it's been absolutely brilliant. So that just shows you now that approach that Everton are doing in terms of like the goals that they're scoring. Yeah, it was against a poor Wolves side. Let's make no bones about that. They'll struggle this season. But we still created lots of chances. And on another level, we could have easily lost the Brighton game, by the way. Could have easily lost that. The same reason we lost the Leeds game. That could have went either way. Everton had the second half, Leeds had the first half. Same reason, obviously, what happened. Brighton had the first half, we had the second half. And that's just sometimes... That's the key difference. When you're playing Premier League games this season, outside the top 4, top 5, there's nothing in between 6th to 15th. There's going to be 1-0s, 2-1s, and it's about having them game changes in your side that win your games. And Everton have got Ilham and Diaye and Jack Grealish and Kieran Dewsbury. They are game changers that play in the majority of sides in the Premier League. And that's the key difference here that will probably propel Everton for maybe, where did we finish last season? 13th? We'll be in the top half this next season, no doubt about it. If you can keep Jack Grealish, Kieran Dewsbury and Ilham and Diaye playing games, you win more than you lose.
The challenge is obviously going to be to keep them fit, but also to keep them fresh, because we know it's a squad game now. The Premier League, that's how it's set up. It's not just Premier League, it's just football. So you don't want to run them into the ground.
Of course.
But unfortunately, here's me saying, well, we've got McNeil to come in and make a difference.
The levels drop.
No, the levels will drop, obviously, but I still think he that's why I'm saying I'm glad that he never went, because I would rather have, if McNeil was to go, we needed a replacement for McNeil. Because it's just, you just need to build your squad. You can't just rely on the three that you spoke about.
Yeah. But you got Dibbling there now as well.
Dibling's obviously there as well. I'll tell you what, the subtleness of Jack Grealish, obviously the quality of that he's got going forward. There was a moment in the Wolves game. It was late on because Grealish had the ball from deep and he was bringing it forward, and he knew he weren't going to progress too far up the pitch. But he tried to take 2 players on, skipping between the two of them, but he knew he was getting fouled and he won the free kick. And it just slowed everything down. So it's not just his creativity, his assist.
There's no hour of the game.
Which, by the way, his assist is compared to the last 2 seasons, he's nearly matched, hasn't he? It's just those little differences of slowing the game down and winning those free kicks in the important areas as well.
And that's where Dwight McNeil, Jasper Lindstrom and Jack Harrison wasn't doing for last season. And that's we've just spoke about, obviously, Grealish on the pitch, but off it, the love that he's got from Everton supporters, and I think that's been shown now worldwide on a basis, because obviously
got put in a headlock, didn't he?
Exactly. Seen that before. It shows you, doesn't it, in terms of like the fans, like the love for him, doesn't it? It shows you that love that he's got. Yeah. And like an example of that was I got my lad my son the Everton home kit this season. I asked him at the time when it first came out, who do you want on the back of the shirt? And he went Ilham Ndiaye. And so we got him, obviously, Ndiaye number 10 on the back of the shirt. And since then, the away shirts come out and the third kit's come out. Yeah. And so, like, who do you want on the away kit and who do you want on the third kit? And he went, Jack Grealish and Jack Grealish. So I said, you can't. So he wanted them on the away kit, and that's the effect that he's having on the fan base at the moment. I went, no, you're going to have to pick another one for the third kit. So he picked Dewsbury Hall for the third kit, by the way. So it's not a bad trio to have, isn't he? Someone naming it the Holy Trinity, which is, I think, brilliant as well. But they are our modern day Holy Trinity, so to speak. We're not saying they're going to be that good, but who knows if we could get to a final or something, or get to the tail end. Nobody knows how this season's going to unfold, and that's the magic of that. The last 5 or 6 seasons, we knew we were in the basement. We knew we were drowning. We knew going into the season, we've just got to keep our heads above the water. Now, there's that mysterious about the season that no one knows what's going to happen, because Everton have got some very good footballers in there, and if they can keep them fit and get Branthwaite fit and keep their main 3 players in the side and maybe add that addition up front in January, who knows what can happen this season.
I just think the players, the attacking players that we brought in, you can see the type that Moyes has wanted. It's players with a flair, bit of creativity. You know, obviously the attacking threat. Obviously, Kieran Dewsbury-Hall's already scored a fantastic goal. I mean, what a goal that was. It's almost to the point where I think this is not a negative on David Moyes whatsoever, but Moyes, obviously, I think he's a fantastic tactical manager. He's improved since he's left the club and obviously come back. But he's brought players in who almost, when things are going a little bit tough or getting a little bit tough, it's like they can solve it themselves because they've got that flair and attacking threat. You know, you can change things around positionally or from a tactical point of view. Moyes will do that, and I still think he would probably be reluctant to do that too much. But you've got your Grealish, you've got your Diblin, you've got your Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, and you've got your Ndiaye. It's almost to the point where he says, once you're on that pitch, you need to sort it yourself.
Exactly,
you've got the quality.
You've got responsibility
exactly.
to yourself, one thing I will mention, sorry, just before I forget, Ian, 2 things is that this version of David Moyes we've got is a totally different David Moyes from the version we had 15 years ago. Totally different. This version of David Moyes knows he's not here that long and he's got unfinished business. Yeah. And he knows he's going for the throat. And what I mean by that is that they're going for the wins for the kickoff. They're going at teams. Now, Brighton last season, we didn't go at them at all. Not from the kickoff. We went to Wolves and went for them within the first 10 minutes. Everton had 7 players in the opposition box within 10 minutes of a ball going in the box. That wouldn't have happened the past 5 or 6 seasons. Just don't care if Sean Dyche was in charge, Frank Lampard, Rafa Benitez, I'm not interested. That would not have happened. Moyes has got unfinished business and he's going for the throat in wins. Now, I'd take that all day long, because if you've got Dewsbury-Hall, Ndiaye and Jack Grealish on your side, you're going to win more games by going for the throat. And that's so refreshing to see that, especially for these away supporters as well, selling out away from every single week. Doesn't matter who we're playing. We're there. Bournemouth on a Wednesday night, West Ham on a Monday night, Everton are there. And for these away fans to be rewarded where the manager is setting the team out to go for the win, straight from the kickoff. Don't be reserving judgment. Don't be tucking yourselves in for 5 or 10 minutes and holding out for the draw. Go for the throat. And that's what's so refreshing to see. Don't get me wrong, that's not going to happen at Anfield. It's not going to happen at the Etihad. But you'll have a go at them. Trust me, this Everton team will have a go at them teams. That's refreshing to see. And also, just before I forget him, there's 2 unsung heroes in this Everton side at the moment. James Garner, who's probably the 2025 version of Moyes' Phil Neville in terms of playing right back, left back, centre midfield, always available, always gets stuck in, always giving us all. And Michael Keane. If anything at the moment, when Jared Brantwaite comes in, it should be James Tarkowski that's getting dropped. Michael Keane has been a revelation these past 2 or 3 games. He really, really has. So much so that he hasn't put a foot wrong. Now, yeah, judging from what we've seen from him in the past, there is 1 or 2 mistakes in him. But so far, we haven't seen it. He's been very, very good. And that needs to be rewarded in terms of showing a little bit of respect this season, in terms of like how good he's been. Been very, very good for Everton. And if you look at the goal that Everton scored against Wolves, it was from Michael Keane, high pressing up the pitch. Right up the pitch. It was towards Wolves' corner flag. In fact, he won the ball. Ball comes into the box. Ilham Ndiaye scores. So if you look at Ilham Ndiaye's goal, where it come from Michael Keane pressing high up the pitch, winning the ball, giving it to Dewsbury Hall, and the rest is history. So 2 unsung heroes there. And again, what I mentioned about players stepping up. Jack Grealish is in the side. Garner's game's gone up. And all of a sudden, Michael Keane is as well. It just shows you when someone's good on your side, your levels rise.
No, I agree. I mean, I think I said yesterday, even though we've got 4 options at right back and James Garner being one of them, I would be reluctant to push him over to the right-hand side of defence just because I think he's been a bit of a revelation in that new holding midfield role that he's been playing since, obviously, pre-season. So...
Did the cynic in me, why he's playing so well this season?
Well, I said this. I know what you're going to say. I said this yesterday. His contract's up, isn't it? Michalenko's contract up as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that? No, it was Patterson.
Patterson. I don't think we're going to... Listen, I don't think Moyes rates him. For Frank Lampard certainly didn't. Sean Dyche certainly didn't. And Rafa Benitez bought him, if you remember rightly. So, yeah, his career's been massively disappointing considering the amount of money that we've spent on him from Rangers. But we've kind of got Rangers back in this transfer window, haven't we, in terms of selling Chimity for 8 million. So swings and roundabouts.
True. Daniel Barton says WrestleMania at Hill Dickinson.
Hey, listen, I wouldn't be surprised if there's any event down there because you've seen the capacity that it can hold. You've seen the noise levels as well, and I keep on emphasising that. The noise levels. Every Evertonian will tell you that. Being to the stadium, the previous 2 matches, it's the noise levels. Like my dad went to the game against Mansfield, and he couldn't believe it. And my dad's obviously follows Everton all around the country for many years. And he got on the phone to me, mum straight away, he went, "This is just like Wembley." He said he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe the scale of it. He said, "This is Wembley." He said, "It's incredible." My lad was there as well, and he couldn't believe the view. He couldn't believe the view because the games he went to watch Everton at Goodison, there's been obstructive views and he can't see, or because he's small, he's like looking over everyone's shoulder. And now he said, "Dad," he said, "this is the best seat. This is the best seat." And he just thinks like, I said, "They're all the same, mate." He said, "They're all the same." And he can't believe it. So yeah, that stadium's a game changer. I wouldn't be surprised if we have any event on there whatsoever. It wouldn't. Big concerts, as I said, fighting, boxing, whatever you name it, it's going to be down there because it's on the waterfront. It's iconic. It's absolutely iconic, isn't it?
Already can't wait for the Villa game. It's frustrating that there's an international break this weekend, which we know they've got to fill them in somewhere with the World Cup coming up. But that Villa game is the first 3 p.m. Saturday.
Yes. No, yeah, it will be.
Yeah.
Because Brighton was on the telly on the Sunday.
So that'll be an interesting one in itself. And
then West Ham under the lights.
Yeah, I just can't wait to already get back there. Gutted that I missed the 2 there, but is what it is. And, you know, the fact that we'll come on to the run of form. I mean, Everton don't win games in August, so it was looking a little bit, you know, critical, I guess, after the Leeds game. But obviously Brighton win, Mansfield win, Wolves win. Is Wolves the best performance out of the 3, I guess? Different to the Brighton game.
I think there's 2 ways of looking at it. Wolves are poor. They'll struggle this season, Wolves. But Everton played some really good football. Reminded you of a throwback to watching Everton from the 1960s with the likes of, obviously, the Holy Trinity I've just spoke about, the likes of Alex Young and...
How old are you?
Listen, I'm obsessed with Everton in the 1960s. I think Harry Katik's side just gets unrecognised, in my opinion. I love watching Everton play football in the 1960s. They had so many good defenders, like Brian LeBone, had Joe Royal up front. Obviously, the Holy Saints you've just spoke about, has a very, very good side there. But no, it just reminded me of them. It really, really did. And it was a throwback. It really, really was. To watch Everton play some silky football, school of science stuff, and just literally tore Wolves to shreds in the first half. And the game should have been out of sight. The only worry is that the fact that Everton switched off from a left-back berth, and we can't afford to do that. We've done it against Wolves and we kind of got away with it. You can't do that. We're playing in the Merseyside derby in 3 weeks' time. Mikalenko can't have off nights in the Merseyside derby. He can't have off nights against Aston Villa because we got away with it against Wolves because they're not so good. But they still scored 2 goals against us, don't forget. So
you're always going to have a player who has an off night or makes a mistake. It's just limiting those, isn't it? Really?
Exactly. And he was left found wanting from the first goal, and especially the second goal as well. He was halfway up the pitch for one of the goals, and Michael Keane had to drift over, and he just caught us with a sucker punch, which made it 1-1. And then that was amateurish from him, from a defender's perspective. I'm sure Moyes will have been right down his throat for that one. You do not wait for the ball, and that's at any level. I'm coaching my under 9s this week in terms of our first game of the season, and if one of my defenders is sitting there waiting for the ball to come to him and the lad comes in, I go, lad, you've got to close the ball on. You've got to meet that ball. Doesn't matter what happens at any level. So I'm sure David Moyes will have spoken to Mikalenko in terms of sharpening it up from that perspective. Leeds were disappointing. I think Brighton, for me, would probably go down as probably one of the most important games of the season for Everton. And the reason why I say that is 2 things. Brighton are a good side. You've just seen what they've just done to Man City. Yeah. Very good side. Passed us off the park the majority of the game. So to get a result against them and be so comfortable as well. And what I mean by comfortable is that we had them at arm's length. They created 1 or 2 chances, but Pickford wasn't troubled in goal to a large extent of the game. But A, Brighton are a good side, and B, the occasion, because it was the first game at the stadium. There was a lot of noise, the euphoria of wanting to get in there for the first Premier League match. It was fantastic. The scenes were incredible. The 10 minutes before kick-off, many Evertonians will never, ever forget. But the game itself, and Moyes went on record after the game in the press conference saying it was about the result. Yeah. The result was most important. So to put that into perspective as well against a very good Brighton side, getting the win, A, it's your first win of the season, and B, it's the first win at your home, which everyone would have been watching there saying, are Everton vulnerable in their own new home here? Yeah. Are they going to be a soft touch? Can you get at them because it's not Goodison Park? Well, they all had their eye wiped. Everton got a good win, a very good win against a very good side, and the fans made a lot of noise. It was a very good day. And to do that, because imagine if that wouldn't have happened, if Brighton would have won. All of a sudden you go into Mansfield, oh God, that's 2 losses on the spin. Yeah. And all the opposition supporters are going, you can get at Everton there. They've just lost at home. You can get at them. They lost against Leeds. And I'll guarantee many pundits after that Brighton game, if we would have lost, saying, they've lost at Leeds, they've lost in the new stadium, Everton, get on them to go down.
Yeah. I agree.
But now the opposite has happened. We've beaten Brighton. We've beaten Mansfield in the Cup. We've gone to Wolves and wiped the floor with them. And now all of a sudden, right, when's Villa? I can't wait to get into that stadium. And many punters have gone, they could be dark horses this season. And that was the key difference between that Brighton game and the result.
No, without a doubt. Because I do think even though the Roma game, even though it was only a friendly, it was disappointing still to lose that. And even though I still felt as a fan at home straight away, you want to win. You want to win that first game. Obviously, the Roma game's not classed as the first proper game, but if you lose against Brighton, like you say, then the pressure's on then. Big time. It's been completely put to bed. The longer it goes on without a win at your home stadium, the worse it's going to get. And the longer that goes on, but that, like I say, that's being put to bed.
Yeah.
So, like I say, can't wait to get back. I mean, we were 14th on 0 points after Leeds. Now we're 5th on 6 points. And there's a couple of other teams who say struggling. Is there anyone who you think, well, having a look at like assessing other teams, any surprises? Obviously Villa, I'm very surprised at the poor start they've made. They were one of the teams I said at the start of the season that we should try and target a little bit. City have had a poor start. I'm not saying we're going to target them as a Champions League position. Fulham have had a poor start. Again, they were up there in the top half of the table last season. So they're the type of teams who have already made a poor start that you think, great, we can target them. Now they're the positions that we can land ourselves in.
I think there's a lot of teams in the Premier League this season who finished above Everton that have got weaker and Everton have got stronger.
They've stood still. It's effectively get weaker, don't you?
Newcastle have got weaker.
You think?
Straight. Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, you'd have to say
you can't replace Isak with Wissa.
I think that Walter Maid is going to be a good
Well,
player.
it could be. We
yeah.
don't know. Listen, I could be coming here in 5 months' time. Walter Maid could have scored about 50 goals. We don't know. What I'm trying to say is that right now, sure, Newcastle would rather have Isak on the side and not have them two all day long. That's why Liverpool have paid 130 million for him. Palace have weakened. I know they've kept Mark Gay, but to lose Eze has been a killer for them. And they've lost Adam Wharton for 6 weeks. They've lost Sarr for a couple of weeks as well. We played Palace in a couple of weeks. So that'll do us there. And then you've got the likes of Forest who have sold a Langer. Yet they bought a couple of players in, brought McAtee in, but I think they'll be weaker this season. Okay. Your Brentfords of the Wales will be weaker. Your Fulhams will be weaker.
West Ham already
look already woeful. I'm looking forward to that one on the Monday night as well. If we can get after them.
They'll sack Potter just before we play.
Of course, that'll happen, yeah. And next minute, Mourinho or Ancelotti will walk in. It's not more certain. But I think there's a lot of teams I've just mentioned there that finished above Everton that are a lot weaker this time around. And Everton have got better. Yeah. And I think if we can get that, do you know what? Villa, I know I've just said it's an important win against Brighton, but that Villa game on the Saturday, man, you get 9 points from 12. You're in the top 4.
Yeah,
Everton in the top 4. Then all of a sudden you're going, hang on a minute.
Yeah,
I'm not saying we're going to be up there, far from it, but who knows? Because you've got optimism this season, and you've got the win. I'm saying now, obviously on the Mersey, but you got your wins and your shells. You're flying, and your team are playing good football. Made some good signings. You're in a new stadium. And you're beating the likes of Wolves, you're beating, obviously, Brighton, and then all of a sudden, if you've put Villa to the sword as well, who finished above us this season. So you look at them teams that finished way in Champions League places and in European places, they all finished above us. In my opinion, they've got weaker.
I mean, with the next game, Villa, and the poor start they've made, interestingly, Gav Buckland put a mad shout out at the start of the season to say that he thought Emery would be the first Premier League manager to leave or be sacked. At the time, I thought that's a bold shout, but I think them coming to Hill Dickinson now, the pressure's on them rather than us. I think we will be a lot more comfortable going into that game than Villa, because even when you think about it, a draw for them is probably a poor result, considering what their expectations are going to be for the season. We talked about it yesterday a little bit with Connor. They have signed 1 or 2 players, haven't they, on the last day of the day.
Harvey Elliott and Jadon Sancho. They wouldn't get in our side.
I think certainly Jadon Sancho, I don't really know what he's about. I don't know what his attitude or whatever. He's obviously got some sort of quality because he's played for top teams. Yeah. Whether he's delivered in his whole career, I know he delivered at Dortmund, but he's never been able to do that in the Premier League. Harvey Elliott.
Would you have him as a Villa DI?
Jadon Sancho. I'd have none of them.
No, would you have Harvey Elliott?
None of them over what we've got now.
There you go.
No. But I'm saying
they're their best players.
They have strengthened a little bit.
Yeah, they have. Yeah. But they've also got weaker. They've sold players themselves. So I think it's testament to Everton's recruitment team, I've just touched on there. And the fact that I think the key difference here when we play Villa in a couple of weeks' time is a big difference. When we played them last season, it was Moyes' first game. Dice had just been sacked.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it was a case of, let's just take a draw here. And we got beat 1-0, didn't we? Yeah. Ollie Watkins. And it was a case, when we all go into that match, I think if you were to ask the majority of Everton fans, it was like, just get a draw here, get a draw.
And Calvert-Lewin missed a great opportunity.
Of course he did. I think Everton, with the fan base inside that stadium, and it's so easy to forget this, by the way, and my dad mentioned this to me at the Mansfield game, we've got basically best part of 15,000, 16,000 more supporters in the stadium. Yeah. It's so easy to forget. We've been used to that, just having 35,000 at Goodison. Now there's 50. There's a big difference. You've got 15,000 more Everton supporters in this stadium, and they're not going to let Everton teams just sit there and hold on for the draw. Yeah. Everton are going to be going for the throat against any team that comes to Hill Dickinson this season, because the fans won't let that happen. They won't drop the levels. We went for it against Brighton. Obviously, we went for it against Mansfield, and we'll go for it against anyone this season because of the momentum the team's got and the players that we've got on the pitch.
Absolutely. And just the Mansfield win, obviously 2-0. They didn't really offer much, did they? But I hate to say this phrase, but cup run, whatever. We know we've got Wolves in the next round. Priority for you, obviously League Cup. It's got to be, hasn't it?
It has. I always said this to my lads when he was born, I'm going to take you to Wembley one day. I'm going to take, and every time we get knocked out the cup every year, I go, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? And
I think as well, sorry to interrupt, but if you look, I know Liverpool won the league, but if you look at the teams that also won trophies last season, why can't that be Everton?
Newcastle, it can be. You need a bit of luck. And Palace. Yeah, but you need luck. You need luck, do you know what I mean?
Well,
look at them draws that got pulled out in the League Cup last round. Everton only won a few of the teams to have
got a Premier League.
Everyone else is playing lower league sides, do you know what I mean? And that's just, you need a bit of luck on your side. But I feel as if we can get anyone. You ask the majority of opposition supporters, and even if you probably speak to the managers, you know, if in press conferences, they're going to be looking at Everton at the Hill Dickinson Stadium going, he's going to be going down there now. And that was the big difference in that Brighton game, the message it sends out, because not many teams are going to be wanting to go down to Everton, doesn't matter what time of the day it is. If it's a Monday night, it's a Wednesday night, it's Friday night football, it's Sunday afternoon, it's Saturday 3 o'clock, they're going to be going, they're going to be a nightmare to play against. And I know Goodison was, but we only won 5 games at Goodison last season. Already we've won one at Hill Dickinson already in the league. So I will easily double that at what we did at Goodison, in my opinion, because there's going to be a lot of teams that won't fancy coming to Everton's new stadium this season. They will for the pitches and obviously visiting it, but they won't fancy playing against this Everton team because the fans are going to demand that they're on the front foot. Main reason because they've got very good players in the side now. And
probably, well, arguably, Everton's best player not even being in the side, Jarrod Branthwaite.
There's an argument to that, yeah. Very, very good argument too.
Probably Grealish is the best player.
He's just a very good footballer, isn't he? And do you know what? He knows how good he is as well. I think. What was your thoughts on David Moyes saying what he said?
What did he say? I was probably a couple of beers in after this post-match press
so David Moyes went on record and said, "I knew he was good, but I didn't know he was that good."
But he has, though. I think he's.
But think, if Jack Grealish, what would you feel if your manager said that?
I think, not that he wouldn't care. I just think he knows. I think he knows he's that good, Jack Grealish. So he's probably had compliments from Pep.
Yeah.
Maybe to be fair, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he needed a bit of a hug, a shoulder to say, "Come on, Jack. We know you're this good," and maybe that's what Moyes is doing. Maybe he is that type of player.
World Cup year's helping as well, isn't it?
Whether he gets in or not, for me. I know it's probably a priority for him. It shouldn't be a huge disappointment if he doesn't get in, because if he has a good season at Everton, then he's just proved everyone wrong of how good he still is as a footballer.
Oh yeah, and do you know what? To see him with a smile on his face as well, because to the tail end of his City career last season, he was coming in for bit part games and he was making stupid tackles because he was frustrated by not getting a game. And it's so easy to forget as well. 2 years ago, when City won the treble, played more games than anyone in that side. Yeah, very influential in the side. Big part of their treble winning season.
Do you think he's surprised at how much he is loved by the Everton fans? Or like the impact, not the impact that he's had, but
I think it's still early days for that. Fans. I think it's still early days for that. Yeah. I think he probably took a step back. He's probably seen the stage and thought, wow. And then when he's seen it full, and he's seen the away section at Leeds, and he's seen it full against Brighton, then he's seen Wolves as well, because he's probably getting stick, wasn't he, because being an ex-Villa. And then he's probably seen the away back, and he's probably thought, wow. And that's why he's went over to them, and he's like, give them an hug, and he threw his shirt in, because he said, these are going to travel and follow me everywhere. And I think he's probably going to see the fan base again at Villa. He's going to get a terrible reception there, I'm sure, by the Villa faithful. But again, he's going to look and go, right, I'm going to say roll of socks up there, but he's going to literally love it, isn't he?
Keep them down.
Exactly. He's going to say, right, give me the ball. I'm going to take this Villa team on. And he's got to revel in it. He's that type of player, isn't he? He revels in occasions. You don't play at that level. You don't win a treble. You don't win the Champions League, FA Cup leagues. You don't win all that without not being a big game player. And I think that he's won everything. He's got nothing else to prove, really. He's done it at every level. He's played for his boyhood club. He's won the treble at Manchester City. He's represented England. He's got nothing else left to prove. But I still think he's got the bit between his teeth here at Everton where, do you know what? I still want to prove one or two doubters that think I weren't good enough for City and that I can't do it. So, yeah, long may that continue. It's going to be for Everton's benefit.
I can't wait to ask Gav Buckland this question next time he's on, because he wasn't against Grealish coming to an extent, but he was maybe cause for concern about the type of player, maybe his age, and obviously what we paid for him, considering what else was out there. But it's early days, so obviously it's only what are we in? 4 games in, including the League Cup game. Is it reaffirmed for you that it was the right decision to bring in Grealish? Again, it's still so early, but where we are now,
where we're at now, it's been a cracking decision. But again, it's very, very early days. Yeah. He can have a drop in form for 6 weeks and go missing.
Injured,
and all of a sudden, anything can happen. All of a sudden, Moyes has to take him off and we start losing games. You're going, paying this lad 250 grand a week. What's going on? Do you know what I mean? And he's meant to be our main hope. And if he's not playing well, then there's going to be pressure on Ilham Ndiaye. And if all of a sudden Ilham Ndiaye gets pushed up front, then you've got Tyler Dibbling coming in. You're going, hang on, he's just a young lad. I think out of all the signings Everton have made, I think Tyler Dibbling was the one I was more dubious about, to be honest.
Just unproven.
Massively unproven. And not just that, as well as like, he's one of the top 10 most expensive teenagers now in world football that we've just paid a lot of money for, whichever way you dress it up.
And weirdly, he's not really an automatic starter right now, is he, at this moment in time, which is mad.
Not, yeah.
When can Everton spend that amount of money on someone and say, well, not go in the team straight away?
Exactly. It just shows you the good players that we've currently got in the team at the moment. And that, again, that's testament to Juice Biol and Jack Grealish. But isn't it a nice problem to have? Oh. The fact that you've got, do you know what, where does Dibbling play? Where does Juice Biol play? Can't you? And you've got options to put Juice Biol in midfield. If you're ever struggling as well, you can play centre midfield. It's nice to have different options in the side. Ilham Ndiaye can go from either flank. You know that Ilham Ndiaye now can play right or left. If Grealish is ever unwell or not fit, all of a sudden, Ndiaye goes on the left, Dibbling's on the right, and Juice Biol's in the middle. So you've got nice options to have. We didn't have them options last season. In fact, you had a guaranteed start, and Jasper Lindstrom and Jack Harrison, they were your starters for many parts of last season. Abdoulaye Doucouré in a 10 running round. That's what it was, and it just shows you. And
it's a different way the team's playing, though, isn't it?
Massive.
They look a lot more comfortable on the ball.
You got better players. I know it sounds so basic, but better players in has better results and has better football. And when you bring very good footballers to the side, Juice Biol, Tyler Dibbling, Jack Grealish, you're going to play better football at the end of the day.
I want to ask you two more things then before we go. The first one was that I asked Connor this yesterday. Right now, with the players that we've got, what's Everton's best 11?
Best 11, Jake O'Brien, Tarkowski, Branthwaite, even though I've just applauded Michael Keane there. I think he's been very good this season. Mikalenko left back. I'd have just a guy and James Garner as me middle two. And then I'd have the front three of, we just spoke glowingly of there, Ilham Ndiaye, Keane Juice Biol, and Jack Grealish. It just depends on who you're playing. If you're playing, I think if we're playing a team below us or a team we're expecting to win,
we're going to sit back a little bit.
We're going to sit back a bit. I think Beto's your man. But I think if we're playing someone decent, I think Barry's more likely to stretch the team. He's got more pace and he's more, I don't know, I think he's got a little bit more magic about him than Beto. I think Beto's a little bit predictable. Won't load the ball up as much, but I think Barry's, I don't know, he'll run the channels a little bit more. He'll stretch your defence a lot more. He's got more pace about him, for example.
Interesting. I slightly disagree because it's too early to assess what type of player Barry is and what qualities that he's got. I think it's been promising without a doubt. I think Beto needs the space to run onto rather than, playing him defenders in front of him. He needs to be playing on the shoulder of the last defender.
He does, but defenders are going to work onto that. They're going to go, well, just stand right up his backside. Do you know what I mean? Where they've seen this Barry lad, they go, well, what's he all about? They don't know. So if we don't know what Barry's about, the defenders don't know. So they're trying to keep him at arm's length. But what I liked about Barry is that his hold-up play for the goals, for the 2 goals against Brighton, the 2 goals that Everton scored against Brighton, they all come from Barry. And that's the big key thing that you need to do in the Premier League. If you're not a possession-based side, you need the striker to hold the ball up. Now, against Wolves, we were quite possession-based. We kept the ball for large periods of the play. So it kind of suited Beto that we didn't need the centre-forward to hold the ball up. But when you're playing against the big sides, especially away from home, you need your centre-forward to hold the ball up for you. And that's what Beto doesn't do, which Barry can kind of do, what we've seen in the one game so far.
Yeah, I think a lot is made of whether a striker can hold the ball up. And I don't disagree with that. I think I said this the other week that if we can get better players in and around, it doesn't matter if it's Beto, just the striker in and around the striker. They don't necessarily have to hold the ball up. It's just being able to play those passages of play. So it's that one touch. If his back's to goal,
yeah, bang, and we're in.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And that's what Barry done brilliantly against Brighton.
But that's where I feel Beto, in a way, does let himself down a little bit because we know he can't hold the ball up well, and even he might do it like once or twice a game, and the rest he might lose the ball. It's about being clever of who's around you, opposition defenders, who's around you. If you can hold the ball up because you've got the time and space to do it, that's fine. But if you know the ball's coming into your feet, That's where these are 3 attacking players, as in Grealish, Dewsbury Hall and Ndiaye. That's where they need to come in. They need to be closer to the attacker, so it can just be one touch layoff and then you're gone.
Yeah, it's the link-up play. It's and that's what centre forwards do. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're Ollie Watkins, if you're Gyökeres, Haaland. I'm sure Isak will be doing the same. If you're not holding the ball up, it's your link-up play. 1-2, quick straight away. If you can't hold the ball up and you've got a defender up your backside, as soon as you get the ball, you should be knowing exactly where you're putting it. So the ball goes to Beto or Barry. It's like, if Grealish feeds you, what are you doing with it next? You flicking it around the defender, you're laying it off to Dewsbury Hall, you should automatically know what you're doing. Now, the minute you don't know, all of a sudden the defender's taking you off it, or it's going to bounce to another player.
Let's not forget though as well, it's having the common sense to, if you can't hold the ball up or if you can't link up at midfield, pass it back to the player who's just given to you.
Exactly.
Just having that
Keep
knowledge.
the ball, because we've got ball players now, Ian. How many times we've since growing up watching Everton, we've not had many ball players in the side. Mikel Arteta is probably the only midfielder I can think of at the top of my head that can, Gareth Barry, can keep a ball in the last 10 or 15 years. You've got Dewsbury Hall, keep a ball. Iliman Ndiaye, you can keep a ball, and Jack Grealish can keep the ball better than anyone in the Premier League, arguably.
And when he can't, he gets fouled.
Exactly.
Anyway.
So you're drawing a foul anyway. So you've got ball players in the side. So you let your James Garner and you're just a guy who do all the donkey work. Feed it to the most creative players. Let them keep the ball, and then let your centre forwards run on. So yeah, I'm really optimistic about this season. I've loved the football that we've been watching. I know I've made many references to the School of Science type of football, but that's what I witnessed against Wolves. Yeah, it was only against Wolves, and I can't wait to get into the Hill Dickinson Stadium to watch that type of football against Aston Villa, because if they do that, I think they'll rip Aston Villa to shreds. I really do. If they play that type of football, I think they can get at Villa, because they look very, very vulnerable at the moment. They don't know what they're doing with the goalkeeper situation. The back four's all over the place. I think the midfield's getting overrun. Yeah, I think there's many potential targets in that Villa team. Not that I get massively over optimistic, but I think looking back on last season when we played Villa compared to where we are now, I'll demand that there's going to be 50,000. There's demanding that Everton go for Villa straight from the kickoff, and Moyes won't let. Moyes will literally, he'll be saying to these players straight from the off.
Yeah, I mean, early days, extremely frustrated after the Leeds game, but it's been a huge turnaround over the last 3, and that's got to continue now into Villa, and we're playing a team who there's so much uncertainty around what they're doing at this moment in time. They haven't had a good start to the season. Let's get at them, like you said. Finally, I just wanted to give you the chance to reassess your predictions if you want. So I can't remember I don't know if you can remember what you said, but I've got them here anyway.
Go on.
So you said Everton's final league position 9th. You're going to stick with that? You're going to go higher?
Yeah.
Higher?
8th. I know, only mainly because of, and it's nothing to do with the start Everton have made, by the way. It's to do with the fact that they've got better players, considering when we made that, when we made the predictions. And also since then, that the teams have got weaker above us. They've got weaker. 100% they've got weaker. Yeah. And a lot of them won't fancy playing Everton, especially at the new stadium, because they'll know the noise. They'll see the noise and they'll be about it.
You said top goal scorer Barry. Still going to stand by that?
Yeah, I do. I'll stand by that one, yeah.
I said 9th as well, by the way, but I said the top goal scorer would be Iliman Ndiaye.
Who did I say for first manager to go?
You said Potter. Do you know what? He was like second on my list because I think
Espirito Santo will probably go in the next 2 weeks.
You think?
Yeah, he'll walk.
That's because of issues behind the scenes, though, rather than what Forest are doing.
Yeah.
You said Everton's player of the season with Jack Grealish. Well, looking good so far. The Premier League winners, Man City. I said City as well. You still stand by that?
Yeah.
Even though they've had a bit of a shocking start.
What did the drew 1, lost 1, won 1?
Is that what it is?
I think it is, something along the lines. They'll be up there, City. Got too many good players.
We'll jump to, you've said Potter, so you still stand by Potter?
Yeah.
Just before the Everton game, no doubt. Relegated teams, you said Burnley, Wolves and Leeds.
Yeah.
Interesting, that.
Yeah, I do. I think Sunderland will just do enough to stay up.
And you think
they've already got 6 points, Sunderland.
Do you think West Ham as well? Villa could be down there by the way things are going.
Yeah. There'll be shocks this season. Make no bones about that.
There's already been a couple of shocks. Let's face it, the Bournemouth win against Tottenham was a bit of a shock, let's face it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And do you know what? Nobody will be able to predict that Premier League table in May. Nobody. Because I don't see much of a difference between 4th to 15th. I think there's a lot of teams there that can beat each other on the day. It's about who's got the game changes and the match winners in them games. And Everton have got a lot of match winners in the side. And
unfortunately for us, it's the teams who can make the most subs, because we might be able to make like 4 or 5.
2 or 3.
Well, I don't know whether we're going to be able to do that. But the top teams who are in the Champions League spots, they're going to be able to make them 5 subs every single game, aren't they?
But the likes of Palace and Forest, they're playing Sundays.
Yeah.
That will help Everton.
Good shout, yeah. Good shout.
Yeah, that will help Everton no end. And Palace have got massive injury issues. But I think the teams, the likes of your Brentfords of the world, your Fulhams, your Palace have just touched on, Newcastles, they've all got weaker. And don't get me wrong, they're all very good sides. They're all capable of beating us, don't get me wrong. But they're all far weaker than what they were last season. And we've got stronger.
We're stronger, aren't we?
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Final thoughts then before we do shoot off. So,
really pleasing to see lots of Evertonians with smiles on their faces. I think, as I touched on there at the start of the podcast, is that like obviously Liverpool are flying in the league, top of the league, spent $500 million, whatever. They're going for everything, but you wouldn't have thought that we share a city with them and we're all proud as punch, being an Evertonian on and off the pitch. We've got very good players on the pitch. Yeah. We've got the best stadium in the Premier League by a country mile. And so the future's bright. Very, very bright.
Absolutely. And for me, I just can't wait to get back. That's the like the eagerness to get back to playing at Hill Dickinson and playing football. This international break is a bit of a, it's just in the way, if anything. But we'll wait for the Villa game, and I just can't wait for it.
You and 50,000 others.
Absolutely.
And do you know what I'll be looking forward to as well? It's a Saturday game. Obviously, there's a lot of games on the Sunday. Imagine a win. 9 points will probably put you in about 3rd spot. Now, it's not that we're going to stay there, far from it, but it gets you dreaming. It gets you, hang on, and everyone starts suddenly thinking, hang on, they've just got 2 wins at the new stadium there. They're right in the mix. No one's going to be taking points off Everton this season. They've beaten Wolves, they beat Villa, they beat Brentford, beat Brighton. All of a sudden, it's like, you wouldn't want to be facing Everton at their new stadium.
It could be a nice post-match show, couldn't it?
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
All right, well, final thought from me. We are back on Friday. Again, there's no match, but I'm sure we'll be able to put together a show, see what we can do. And just a little sidebar. If you do watch the show on YouTube, you will notice over the next week or so that we are hopefully going to be moving into our new studio space. So basically, this room that we're in now, we're moving to a new one, and it's a whole new setup. Different setup. You've seen it, Tom, haven't you?
Yeah. It's like going from Goodison Park to Hill Dickinson.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I do like the vote of confidence for that. We'll leave everyone, let everyone give the feedback when we do move in there. It's either going to be Friday, Monday, but I mean, we've been waiting for this studio space for a long time, so who knows?
Sounds like the stage.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah. Traffic and parking, better to get there.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Accessibility.
Yeah, just a reminder as well, to get the best discounts off your NordVPN plan, go to the podcast episode description box, where you will find nordvpn.com/EFC. That is all for today's show. Enjoy your day and enjoy the rest of your week. I've been Ian Croll, joined by Tony Scott, and this has been the Royal Blue Podcast.